Hey, this is Chris Cow. Today is Monday, July 16th. It's already 10:39 p.m. It's my 6th week working on F1 10th, just started the 6th week. And I had a lot of thought-provoking questions, actually kept me up the last couple nights thinking about things. So just to sum up, last week, week 5, we were able to get Pure Pursuit working in the real world. The car was going up to 5 meters per second using particle filter for localization. And this week, today, I did a lot of documentation of the code in our reference manual, a lot of it, almost all day. And tomorrow and the day after, I'll be thinking a lot about the simulator, because the problem we're trying to solve here is that currently, in order to test the car and waypoints, we have to bring it into the real world. Now, as we bring the car faster and faster in the world, we're approaching 5 meters per second, and so have not hit the limit in terms of speed. We even got up to 5.5. There's a point where we don't want to be testing the real world because 1, people could get injured, 2, the car could crash into walls, and 3, we don't know the limits of the car because if localization doesn't work midway, it will suddenly go in an unpredictable direction depending on where the car thinks it's going. For example, if the car is going down a corridor and for some reason all of a sudden localization messes up on a turn and thinks it's going the other way, it's going to want to go 180 degrees, which will ram a left turn or right turn straight into the wall. Not good. So these are some of the things I wanted to talk about today. I'll probably just put it all in one video. One is, how can we use Gazebo Simulator for Pure Pursuit? What does this look like in an ideal world? 2, what other types of worlds or maps might we need? And 3, testing algorithms. And I think I might actually break this up into 3 separate videos just to make it a little simpler. So this first video is going to be about how do we use, well, we have the Gazebo Simulator, but what might the interface look like in order to make this able to test algorithms, not just Pure Pursuit and waypoints, but later on even path planning, path generation, obstacle avoidance. So I think the best way to illustrate this is probably by drawing it out. So let me hold the camera. So currently in Gazebo, what we have is something like this. We open up Gazebo and we're greeted with the world. So it'll look something like this. You know, this is Levine Hall. The car goes in this loop and it generally looks something like this. Sorry, it's kind of hard to draw. My desk is a mess. All right. So the car starts here. It's a 3D world, so it's like coming up at us. And the car drives. So essentially what the simulator is really good for is giving, well, first it has physics engines, but it also gives us the true XY location. If we can get the true XY location of a car, then we can basically try and see, assuming that localization works, how does the algorithm perform? So in Gazebo, we have this, and we do have this information. I think what's really interesting, this is Levine Hall, M Lab in the middle. This could be any world though. We want to think about what types of things might we want to see in the simulator. For example, when we're doing waypoints, do we want to see the waypoints actually plotted out? But there's about 2,000 waypoints in a single track, up to 4,000. Just doing this in RViz for 1,000 waypoints actually ends up crashing it. So perhaps we have to be smart. Do we want the car to plot waypoints that maybe 50 waypoints in front of it, and as it moves forward, it plots more waypoints? So far, I haven't been able to figure out an easy way to do this in Gazebo because there doesn't seem to be a data structure that supports this. Moreover, another challenge is that currently in Gazebo, I'm building a world file using SketchUp, which is 3D, but oftentimes, even though I did base this off of the drawings of the floor plans and dimensions, it's not going to be identical to the real world. Given that we already have a 2D map, of occupancy grid, which is black and white, can we take the occupancy grid and insert that directly into the world and somehow make it 3D? Because we don't want to make a ton of SketchUp files just because it might make things a little complicated. Moreover, with something like Pure Pursuit, when we have a look-ahead distance, do we want to be able to showcase where these look-ahead distance rings are? What area is being seen? Do we want to see to the x-axis how many points are to the left and it's approaching a turn? Do we even want a heads-up display showing the velocity? I mean, these are just things I'm thinking about in terms of the car. So, these are just some things I've been thinking about. And we'll get back soon with some answers later in the week.